to quickly pop over here. Today's session, this is the last of the episodes for our online conference we're holding. This is the first one we're holding for We Speak, the company that we started in March. And I'm going to end off the session with something that I'm very passionate about, and that is what we call the big picture of modern day marketing. So it's a workshop that I actually present usually over about 3 or 4 hours, but in this case, believe it or not, I'm going to try and squeeze it into 30 minutes. So you'll see it's quite active. So I've asked Annalise, who's my moderator, to help me because we've got quite a lot of slides. But she's going to run it through so that I can obviously focus on you guys. We also have a couple of really great polls, so please get involved. I see you guys are quite active, chatting. How's it, everyone? Okay, so let's start off. I'm going to start off, I'll start off the share here. There we go. Okay, Annalise, if you can hear me, if you can just help me progress my slides. Okay, so the first thing I want to discuss with you guys is the very old term, and that is that the customer is number one. And it's something I've always struggled with because it used to be like that because the customer is number one because of the fact that he buys from you. The problem in today's world is the customer isn't number one because of his wallet. He's actually number one because of the options that he has. If you look at the bottom of the slide, instant gratification, online comparisons, the fact is that every consumer is absolutely inundated with options. And if you want to sell something like most of us do, we've got businesses, you have to get in front, you have to get his attention. So there's a massive drive for digital marketing, understanding marketing. And what I found is that it's very difficult if you're not in marketing and you're not a technology guy and you're not in marketing, is how do you market your stuff? Because you're actually competing with professionals out there. So I've got a first question for you, Annalise, if you can just quickly do that for us. Okay, so the first question is a poll. Annalise, are you starting it? Just need to get our coordination sorted. There we go. Okay, my question is, I know the customer is number one, but I'm not going to answer it. Do you think the customer is always right? Okay, so it's obviously a marketing and sales thing that comes from the 70s, 80s, where everyone says, oh, the customer is always right. I've got my own opinion, so I'm not going to answer on it. But very cool. 70% of you guys say that sometimes. I will say that I think the customer is hardly ever right because the customer doesn't yet know what he doesn't know. But you have to handle the customer as if they are right, otherwise, because they do have the wallet. Okay, so let's quickly look at, before I go into, so this is a very practical workshop. I'm literally going to show you guys how to do funnels and stuff like that. But I'm going to start with the soft and squishy stuff first. And that is that every customer, when they see you, they've got a story. And this story, this ties a little bit into what Jody said yesterday with story and why. There's sort of a bit of a more in detail version of it. But every customer is in a certain state of his life. He might be in a bad state, divorce, whatever, business. He might be in a very good state, psyched up state. But the reality is that the customer's story is the only thing that's on his mind. So I harshly usually tell people that a customer, generally people don't care about you out there, sorry to say. If you build something, if you build a website, you build marketing, you do Facebook, people won't come. The fact is that it doesn't work on the old saying that if you build it, they'll come. You are sharing the internet with billions of other people. So don't think that if you now during the corona and the lockdowns, you're going to start a new venture and all of a sudden people are going to flock to you because you've got this really cool product. It's not going to happen. Because it's only the client's story that actually matters to him. And that's the problem. Now the challenge is you've got your own story. And your story is usually what people punt. People try and punt features, people try and punt benefits, and unless you match your story with a customer story and get that match, I spoke about it a little bit yesterday, unless you get that match, you basically don't have a product sale and you will struggle quite severely. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I mean, I've seen online on various pages, even Jonathan from Radio Raps the other day, there's a couple of R's in there that I'm struggling with, but is that everyone's asking everyone to please help me sell, because we don't know what's going to happen to our businesses. So to give you a very quick indication of how to match something up, which is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke, is let's say you do shampoo and you want to advertise shampoo. What would be your natural instinct? Well, we're going to advertise shampoo to women. And how would we do the demographics of it? Well, for one, you might be wrong that it's not just women that do, but I assume it'll be a fair assessment to say that if you look at the slide, how would you package your product? How would you package your message? And if you look at it, how would you sell to the decisions that women would make is on brand and smell, and I'm fairly certain all the ladies out there will be able to comment. The interesting thing is selling the same product and not understanding your market basically results in this. And I hope you guys are chuckling on the other side, because if I usually show this to people, they go, so it's very different. It's a very specific skill set and technique to not just know how to do Facebook and not just know how to develop a website. That's one thing. It's actually how do you get the message across. Now, the message. Sorry, so I just want to say, you guys can see I'm on the black side of this this circle here. So it boils us down to, okay, so customers got a story, you've got a story, you need to get a match. How do you communicate that? And the way that you communicate, just after this, I'm going to show you what a communication channel typically looks like. But before we get there, what do you communicate? How do you communicate to your audience? And it starts off with why. Now, again, Jody spoke about it yesterday. I'm fascinated with the concept of why. And I actually want to ask you, Annalise, if you can do the question for us, the poll. I want to ask you, have you guys heard of why? Now, I've got a bit of a predicted outcome here. Let me just see if the poll's popping up. Okay, there we go. So have you heard of why? Yes, love the idea. Heard of it. Haven't given it, what? Heard of it, haven't really given it thought. Nope, never heard of it. Okay, so what's interesting is the majority says, yes, they have heard of it. But I see a lot of customers, and I walk in and I say, listen, have you got your why? And they go, yes, we got our why. Your why is not your mission statement. Your why is not, we're doing business for cash. Your why is a very deep-seated message that all your communication goes around. And the reason why I say that is if you do a post, it must be a why statement. If you develop your website, you've got a slogan, why statement. But what is a why statement? Now, I've got a hero. I won't say main crush, but I've got a hero, and his name is Simon Sinek. And I hope you guys might have heard of him. He's become very popular because over the last, I think it was about 10 years ago, he coined the concept of start with why. And Simon he's the thought leader on this, so I'll definitely encourage you guys to go and have a look at him. But as a bonus, I'm going to run a very short clip, it's about a minute, of Simon explaining his why. Now, Simon is amazing. He had an epiphany. He always asked the question, why are certain companies more successful than other companies? And it's a very good question, because I think in any industry, in the industry that you might go into now, there are always big players, and what makes them big? What changes one company from another? And in this video, as a prequel to the video, I'm not going to show you the long 5 minutes before it, so I'll talk on Simon's behalf. A little bit of plagiarism there. But the question is, what makes some companies different from others? And a couple of years ago, Simon had this epiphany that it is actually the way they communicate. It's not what they communicate, it's the way they communicate it. And he came up with this very simple idea. It's actually his idea, and he calls it the golden circle. So I'm quickly going to start off the video, and I'm just going to turn my mic off because it's to be a feedback. So I will leave you guys. During the video, I would like you guys to give me thumbs up, give me feedback that I can see you see the video, but it's only about a minute long. So here we go.
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do it.
Very powerful this.
And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clear.
Can you guys hear and
the
see, Simon?
thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out.
So this is the powerful portion.
Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car.
You guys see how we usually communicate.
Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple.
Okay, so I'm going to... Bjorn, you're 100% right. Yes. So, wow, I'm getting goosebumps just watching that video. I'm such a big fan of Simon's. And that is such an inspiration for me because in most of my life, I've actually communicated wrong. So going for the why, and the reason why I actually showed you guys the video instead of me trying to do it is because Simon does it very eloquently. And I think he explains, I think if you look at that video, it's a TED talk that he's done. I think the video explains it really well. Thanks, Bjorn. We're definitely going to have a look at that. It explains it beautifully. Now, what I would suggest is that if you start marketing, if you start building your stuff, you do your Facebook, your LinkedIn, whatever you want to do, watch that piece of Simon and write the text and literally critically look at the text, the sentence, and say, am I selling what I'm doing or why I'm doing? The reason why I then ask people, do you know what your why is because if you look at it like he does, 90%, 99% of people don't know their why. And the why is a very elusive thing to do. So on the next poll, I'm going to ask you again, do you think you have your why? So Annalise, if you could just fire off the poll for us. It takes a couple of seconds for the polls to pop up. Let's say 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Do you think you have your why? Now consider, you've watched Simon, you've considered the psychological impact of his message. Do you have your why? Woo, we've got a couple of votes there with, I think so. That's awesome. Wow. I think you guys are maybe ahead of me because I don't have my why. And the reason why I say that is I've found that the why is quite elusive and it moves. So you might have a why statement currently and you're really pumped with it. And what I would suggest is you run it as a campaign and you see, does it actually comply with what you think? I'm very glad that 90% of you guys say, I think so. So I would suggest always look at Simon's video as the litmus test and see if that's going to happen. Okay, so let's move on. The other way that you can do a why is with what we call an elevator pitch. Now, I haven't got a poll for it, but quickly in the chat app, in the chat, Give me a thumbs up if you guys know what the elevator pitch is. Okay, Alta, I know you're a salesman. Ooh, Dario. Okay, so let me quickly explain to you, because not everyone knows this if you're not in sales. The elevator pitch comes from the 70s, where you basically, they're at sales conferences, all stay in the same building, and you basically, with the length of one elevator ride, let's say 2, 3 stories, you need to pitch your business so that someone gives you a business card. Very straightforward. That forces you to communicate your message in 20 seconds, like 3 sentences. And I always encourage people to find your why. You first start with elevator pitches. And again, this you can write tens of them, because the elevator pitch is your heading on your website. The what you say on your LinkedIn post is your elevator pitches. Don't talk in anything other than elevator pitches. That's really my advice. So I can definitely advise you guys to follow Rich Mulholland. He's a South African guy based in Joburg. His company is called Missing Link Rich. Maybe if someone tags you in this, you'll see. I love the way that Rich basically explains how to develop an elevator pitch. And he does it very simply by saying that ask yourself to start the discussion. If someone asks you, what do you do? Because the problem with what do you do is you generally start with what and not why. So you need to turn the conversation around. So what Rich advises, which is actually flipping awesome, is he says, think in your head, if someone says, what do? You say, you know how when you, doiki, doiki, doiki. And that is how you start the discussion, because then the guy goes, yes, I know. And then you say, well, we do. So it's a very nice method of getting your elevator pitch. But there's tons of documents and stuff out there. So all I can say is to get to your why, always work towards the why, always communicate in the why, and do elevator pitches that will get you thinking in the why. It'd be very interesting if you guys contact me like in a week or a month or whatever, and tell me how your why has changed, because that's the other thing, is there's a big migration happening on whys. Okay, so my next question is, have you guys got an elevator pitch? So a lot of you guys said, I think I've got a why statement. Who's got an elevator pitch? Okay, now, yes, I'm awesome. And you guys are really cool. I mean, you're such a cool crowd, because you guys seem to have the whys sorted out. You seem to have your elevator pitches sorted out as well. I see not everyone is voting. Guys, please vote. We're quite a big crowd on this session. All you do is click, click, click. I want to see that. I can tell you the results. We're not showing the results so that people aren't influenced by what other people say. It's very much even between, yep, I've got it, think I have it, nope, not yet. So as a template, as a little bit of a cheat sheet, that's what I can say. If you communicate, which means talking, email, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, smoke signals, talking elevator pitches. I think in any case, if you do smoke signals, conveying a why statement might be easier than a paragraph. Okay, so now, how do you do it? Okay, so we've discussed very briefly how you need to communicate. The question is, how do you do it? Now, I quickly want to introduce you guys to the principle of inbound and outbound marketing. This isn't a new one. If any of you guys, I don't really have time to run polls on everything. I usually in my classroom sessions, I ask people, do you know? But do you guys know what inbound and outbound marketing is? Unfortunately, I can't get real-time feedback. You guys can in the chat app say, but most of my clients have not heard, they've heard of digital marketing and they've heard of traditional marketing, but they haven't heard of inbound, outbound. Now the concept of inbound, outbound it comes from a company called HubSpot. They're very well known internationally, quite expensive. And it's very simple. It doesn't refer to as digital because it's not based on the technology. Inbound marketing is what we call opt-in marketing. In other words, you put your message out and people come to you, which is obviously awesome. But outbound marketing is also called interruption marketing. And up until the digital age, which is basically 5 to 10 years old, almost all advertising was outbound based. In other words, outbound based will be television, billboards, print, radio, all that, because what you do is you interrupt the user while he's busy. When you're driving on the highway and there's a mobile phone app. I mean, I didn't drive on the highway to check the advertisement. If you watch a TV series and there's all of a sudden an ad up for I mean, you're watching a local documentary, and all of a sudden some cell phone company advertises this stuff. The reality is they are interrupting what you're doing to watch. So there's a natural negative connotation to outbound methods. Now, what's awesome is we live in a time for digital. Like Jody, who's a digital marketing specialist, like he explained, your digital marketing now is Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and now you can see what works. Now, those platforms are inbound platforms. So you pay Facebook a little bit of money, they put you in front of 1 million people very subtly because they know their audience. They know their audience better than you can ever know the audience. And then people will start coming to you. That's where you want to be. Now, how do you get them to come to you? Elevator pitch. In other words, you advertise on these inbound platforms using elevator pitches and marketing, elevator pitches and why statements. People come to you. Awesome. So remember the concept of inbound, outbound. Very powerful. There's nothing wrong with outbound. I quickly want to ask you guys on the chat app, what is outbound for? So if outbound is sort of a bit of a bad thing, not bad, but there's a place for outbound. I quickly want to hear from you guys in the chat. Tell me what you think outbound marketing is for. Okay, let's see. Yo, you guys are slow in typing. Any ideas what outbound is for? Okay, Alta, thank you. Oh, Dario, you're very close to it. To make people alert. Okay, what do we call that? Branding. Okay, so outbound still retains power in branding, which means that if you put big billboards out there for Ford, you just do branding. You don't do sales. Inbound marketing is very sales focused now. Okay, great. Now, you guys can see I'm talking a little bit fast. I'm all jacked up. It was all based on Simon's video. So, I mean, Simon, okay, so let's see. How do you now do that? So what we've done is, I'm quickly just going to go a little bit on here. Okay, where am I now? Yeah, I've got a question for you, the next poll. Somewhere in my slides. Okay, the next poll asks you, what do you think will suit your business better? Okay, so yes, everyone runs towards digital marketing, but I'm saying inbound, outbound. Sorry to ask such a stupid question because I sort of know what you guys are going to click on. Yeah, everyone's inbound. So inbound is cheaper, it's directed, it's opt-in. All you need to do is, apart from following Jody's advice, which is stunning advice, is the message that you communicate. Why statements, elevator pitches. Awesome. Guys, thank you for participating. Wow, I see the answers coming in even while you guys can keep on voting, because I use the polls afterwards as well. Okay, how does inbound marketing work? Okay, I'm going to use, I've got two illustrations. Inbound marketing means you put the message out there, people come to you. Now, what happens then? Well, the first thing is they start by contacting you and you attract them to you. You'll see on the picture, it's a linear flow, not rocket science. Attracting them means you want a visitor. The visitor, what does he visit? Anyone on the chat? You want him to visit your, I sound like Ferris Bueller's teacher there. You want them, yep, that's it. Alta, you want them to visit your website. Okay, so you do ads on what we call a third-party platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. You put them on your website. On the website, you need to convert them. And you need to close it. So how do you do that? That is what we call to action. So once they come from social media onto your site, you need a call to action. The call to action is a button. It's a form. Get someone to do something. And doing does not mean browsing around. You get them on a page, you answer the question, you get them to buy or click or fill in a form or something like that. And then they become customers. Awesome, that's what we want. And from there on, it's a different cycle. We call it the delight cycle. So then you delight them. You keep on sending them stuff and you keep on working with it. So you can see there's a very clear and logical flow to this. All I can say is the only reason why people will get into this funnel is because of how you communicate. That's why is so important. There's one problem, however, and that is that when this picture from HubSpot came out a couple of years ago, because it's quite old, that was the thinking, which is, sorry about that. The thinking was, okay, people come, they buy, they convert, call to action, blah, blah. The problem is we've now realized that's not the case. People don't just come in and follow your process. So I've got a question for you. It's not a poll, so at least don't worry. A question that you guys can quickly answer in the app. How many times must a client see your product online before he'll make a buying decision? Very simple question. Just give me on the chat. Okay, we've got 40 times, 11 times, 5. Yeah, I'm reading as you guys are doing. We've got a couple of interesting ones. Okay, so obviously there's a calculated, based on history, 14 times. That means people need to see you on average 14 times before they will convert. Now, that unfortunately puts that little picture, means it's not true, because people need to basically keep on visiting you until they commit. So the modern day funnel looks like that, which is actually awesome. So at the top, they're aware of you. Then they go into this consideration cycle. So the flow isn't linear anymore. They keep on seeing you. They see you on Facebook. They see you on LinkedIn. Remember, 14 times on average. That's a lot of posts. So if you do Facebook posts and you do one a month, 14 months before someone will react. So I think once you do the calculations, you'll see why a lot of people say their marketing doesn't work, AdWords doesn't work, Facebook doesn't work. Well, you most probably didn't get to your 14 times. Okay, it's just a benchmark, but I think you guys see, yeah, Dario, you're 100% right. They need to be familiar with the brand because it's a trust issue. We're all non-trusting because of the digital age. So you need to build trust, and that's why they need to see so much of you. The other way to build trust is obviously through people that promote you, people that affiliate with you, all kinds of stuff, but the same principle. So the next thing I want to put you guys through, so this is sort of the flow that people need to go through. But how are you going to do it? So you're the entrepreneur, you're the business. I know some of you guys on this, on the current chat here, we actually a nice bunch of folks. So how do you do it yourself? So I've got a couple of slides, which is what we call our inbound marketing funnel. We've worked on it for many, many years. You guys are welcome to get it. We'll load it up after this on the slides, and you guys can also mail us. And that is our own funnel. Okay, so there we go. Just want to reset it. Okay, so the first thing is it starts with the third-party level, which is your Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And those are platforms that you will pay someone and they will advertise for you. Now, the interesting thing is you don't own that customer. So if someone responds, in other words, people like your product on Facebook, I always ask people, whose customer is it? Is it your customer or is it Facebook's customer? You guys can in the chat. Do you think it's Facebook or do you think it's your customer? Yeah, I'll leave you while you talk. Okay, Facebook, 100% right. Facebook is a CRM platform. They sell social interaction, but it's a CRM platform fundamentally, which means that they allow you to advertise in their client base. Now, what you want to do is you want to get that client to respond and come to you. So once he's on your site, it becomes your customer. So that gives us, you want them to come down a little bit further down the pipeline, which is on your website. So your website needs to be prepared for this ad campaign that you do. And you do that through all those things. You'll see there landing pages, blogs, call to actions, products, web pages, shop, any of that, so that they actually land on what you want to engage with. And now, the powerful thing is you can have 100,000 people following you on, you can have 100,000 people following you on Facebook, but they're still Facebook's customers. So once you have a big following, unless you get them onto your site and get them to fill in your forms, you will most probably struggle with sales. Okay, but it doesn't end there. There's more to it. Okay, so the next thing is now the fill in forms. What then? Well, that's where you come in with a CRM system. CRM system is a customer relations management system. That is one of the specialities that I focus on. We've got this fantastic CRM platform. You guys can definitely, it's not a hard sell. You guys can contact me because it's super powerful, very affordable. It's an enterprise level CRM system, runs in the cloud, does everything. But what does it mainly do? It captures your client information and starts building client lists. It segments it. It creates email flows, you can do automation. Really powerful, and there's a very specific role that CRM plays, and there's a very specific reason for CRM, and it's right there in this the slide that I'm sharing. So very simple. You've got your Facebook level, or let's say your third-party level. Then you've got your website level that's got obviously a lot of things in it, and then ultimately it jumps down into your CRM level. So a customer literally goes through that. You advertise on Facebook, they click. They read your blog. Let's say they come to a landing page. They say, I want to buy this, or I want more information. Fill in a form, poof, they're in the CRM system. From there, you start working with them. Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. And there you can see how the flow works. Because the customer basically comes in. You'll see on the left-hand side, we define at a certain point, at the top, there are unknown customers. Then they fill in a form, poof, now you know who they are. And they become known customers. And once they're known customers, then you can start using email, because email is probably still one of the most powerful marketing tools you've got. And if you have the right CRM system, then you can obviously just keep on emailing people. So a lot of you guys went through, either if you went through this free one or bought tickets for this event, you would have had an idea of the sort of the automation that we use as a company. So we specialize in business automation for small businesses and entrepreneurs and stuff. So thanks, guys. I'm glad that you liked. So this is all good and dandy with what you need in place. And I'm sorry to say, but you're going to have to develop this. You're going to have to get someone to develop it, or you're going to have to develop it yourself. But where does the why and the elevator pitch? Well, that's very simple. Everything you communicate is above this channel. In other words, your product, your analysis, your why not, your whys, your all that goes to those little green bubbles, boils down to your why statements, your elevator pitches, your copywriting, and your content. And that's all the stuff you put into Facebook and LinkedIn and all the third-party levels. And then that effectively gets people on your site. You can start communicating, and that starts building. So you can see that's why it's called the inbound marketing funnel. It is not a sales funnel. Don't confuse it with a sales funnel. A sales funnel is specifically to convert a sale. Funnel, and this is to build marketing so that people convert. It's obviously an aspect of sales in it. Okay, so cool. Thank you, Alta, for that. Okay, I just quickly want to. Okay, Annalise, you can actually do the next poll for us. You can just fire it off quickly. So I have my next question. It's quite simple. Have you got an existing funnel? Not sales, marketing funnel like I've explained now. And have you got portions of it or the whole thing? We've got yes, want to create it, no, don't need it. That's interesting. I've never heard that. So, okay, the majority by far is wanting to create it. So that is usually the response I get, because in today's world, if you watched Dean's video yesterday, if you watched Jody's video yesterday, Tandu's video, webinars, the reality is if you don't advertise this way, you just won't have sales. So you guys will need to do a shift if you don't think you need it. If you have it, I assume you have the results of it. So, okay, I want to show you guys this, and that is we're a tech company. I'm a tech company. Our whole company is cloud-based. The staff works cloud-based. They work remote, and yet I boil my stuff down to paper. I still do paper notes. There's nothing wrong with it. I find that for me developing why statements and elevator pitches, I need to draw. You'll see there's a couple of pictures there. Now, those pictures are real. That comes from our planning sessions, where I will literally draw the pipeline, and that becomes my template to now develop on the website or develop the Facebook campaign. But I thought I just want to share it to you guys, because a lot of the times everyone punts the tools you've got. Yes, you've got amazing tools. You've got Facebook tools, you've got LinkedIn tools, you've got website tools. That's all great and dandy. But you need a picture. So I'm a pictures guy. So I love drawing. I love art, all arty-farty, as you can see. And that's basically, I just wanted to show you guys that pick up a pen, Dario. That's true. Just get a pen and paper, draw, and it's really quite lucky to do. Okay, so just bringing it back quickly as a single picture. This is what we call an inbound marketing funnel. I'm almost done. I see I'm on my time. You've got your medium at the top. You've got your system as a website. And you've got your system as a CRM platform. If you guys struggle with CRM, get in contact with me. We've got a CRM specialist company, not expensive. You can really run a very big system for your company. It's the American system, so it's a huge, we didn't develop it, but we represent it. And then from a website point of view, we set up websites for customers with templates so that the customer literally just has to edit it. But it's not like Wix. It's your WordPress site. It makes it really easy, sort of in half a day, you can be up and running with your site. Okay, so let's finally, I'm going to end off by mentioning this. Very, well, some of you guys might have heard it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Now, I've got a question directly after this. So remember the statement, doing the same thing and expecting different else. It's the definition of insanity. So unless you can just start the poll there, because my question is that statement true? I want to see who says that statement. It's quite a well-known statement. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Okay, very interesting. Not interesting, but a very typical response that you guys think, yes, it's true. I must tell you, I don't agree. I don't want to be controversial, but I don't agree because that statement says you're doing something different, wanting the same result. In marketing, unless you market exactly and you hit your target market with the right statement, your target keeps on moving, which means that if you shoot a cannon and you miss the target, in today's world of tech and marketing and the place at which things move, your target will most probably come in front of you. So don't be afraid of doing the same thing, but don't just do one thing. So there's value to that statement, but I will say the statement comes from an era where things have moved very slowly, and in today's marketing era, you can literally do the same thing. You can run the same campaign, change the audience slightly, and poof, you might hit your target. So that's a whole different workshop, is to how do you identify your target? Because if you load your marketing cannon and your target is over there and you're shooting over there, it won't work in any case. So there's more science, there's more madness behind it. So yes, thank you for the polls there. I'm glad you guys I can't see who answered it, but the last one in my view is right. Sounds like a trick question. It was a trick question, guys. But thanks a lot. That was awesome. So that means that, how do I do this? I want to end off, I'm on my 40 minutes. I want to end off by saying that this is a ton of work. I mean, for you to build this, if you're a small company or you're a single operator or a business owner, I'm not going to joke, this is a huge workload to do. So most people go to marketing companies, most people go to web developers and stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, but I would encourage you to talk to guys like myself first, that I can train you on what to tell your outsourced resource. Almost all my customers burns their fingers with marketing people, and then the relationship goes sour because the marketing guy doesn't perform well. It's because you basically gave him all the responsibility. You didn't actually know what to ask him. So the reason why I do this big picture of modern day marketing, which we actually do as a 3-hour training session, is so that you are empowered. You can go to a web developer and say, I want you to develop X, Y, Z. You can go to a marketer and say, I want you to do X, Y, Z. So I believe as an entrepreneur, I'm a career entrepreneur. I've been in it for 30 years working for myself. I can tell you, you need to own your strategy and outsource the rest. It's one of the only ways that you can basically get ahead and do stuff. So guys, that actually brings me to the end of my session. Wow, it's been an awesome 2 days. Those of you that's been on the previous sessions, I was the moderator in this one. Annalise, thanks a lot. Annalise is helping me out with the polls and stuff. Let's see. Okay, there we go. There's my contact details. We've got various companies. This is our sales company, so I'm talking on behalf of sales. We specialize in setting up websites for guys, CRM system for guys, and then training guys. Most of our sales comes from training people so that you can do it. I'm very passionate that business owners must know what they need or what they want, and then you can outsource it. So, guys, that brings it. Bjorn, thank you very much for the compliment. Guys, I really want to say thank you for the guys that have gone through the whole conference. There's a couple of guys, Dario, lucky you guys have been right from the beginning. Thanks a lot. I'm not going to thank my dog and my aunt and my nana, but really I want to thank you guys because I put great value in everyone taking even half an hour of their day to listen to me, and I appreciate it. And you guys can get in contact with me. I didn't put my cell phone number on because I tend to get quite a lot of mail calls. But after this, also this video is available on our YouTube channel, and then you guys can email us either at WeSpeak or at sales. And I really wish you guys the best for the rest of the day. I don't know if anyone's got a couple of last questions. I see you guys. Yeah, you guys are very complimentary. Thanks a lot. It's awesome, Dario. Thanks a lot. Okay, so I'm gonna end off, guys. It was a pleasure. Please follow WeSpeak. Go onto the WeSpeak website, register, get a newsletter. We've built a fantastic webinar platform for speakers to get the word out, to talk about the businesses. We're making some changes. And then finally, next month, we're running a free conference with very active speakers, public speakers, and it's called It's All About Selling. So it's really inspired to help customers sell. The whole conference is going to be free. It runs end of next month. And if anyone watches this video next year, obviously it's not going to be current, but anyone that's watching live today, please check it out online. So guys, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you for offering up the time. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Alex. You rock.